What's happening, sports fans? Welcome into the beginning of, we're a little bit rushing something out that we were trying to do, but the San Diego High School Sports Association has been very generous and supportive the last couple of weeks of helping us try and launch this new project that we got dedicated to coaches. And to the, I forget who it was on Twitter, but there was a lady who, when we said, hey, what do you want to see, said something about coaches, stop spying on our meetings. Lori Massa and the Sports Association had the idea first. So what the idea is going to be in the grand scheme of things is we want to get a lot of people to sit in this seat right now where Coach Christian Curiel is. Coach, hello.
Hello.
I will get to you in just a second.
Okay.
I need to give people the introduction because, like I said,
it.
we're kind of rushing in. We'd planned on filming a couple of these, releasing them all together, kind of making a grander statement because we want that seat right there to be a platform for a lot of you to actually, not have 240 characters, but have 24 minutes to sit here. We're going to kind of format it, hopefully, that the same-ish questions will be asked every time, so everyone has the option and ability to speak on the same topic, so we can get kind of a dialogue going. In the short term, though, this is sports have disappeared, and we are trying to just get you content and get you stuff to do. So, Coach, thank you very much for being our guinea pig on this.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Laura.
We got 4 questions.
Okay.
That we will make our way through, but before we get there, just kind of introduce yourself to people that don't know you. You coach at Grossmont. You are here as a football coach, but you're wearing track, so you enjoy a multitude of sports. Give us the cliff notes on who you are.
So my name is Christian Curiel, and I coach quarterbacks over at Grossmont High School. I've been with Tom Carlos since 2007 when I joined him at Mount McGill. Prior to Mount McGill, I was at Hilltop where I was the offensive coordinator for 2 years with Craig Rasmussen as my quarterback. And prior to that, I was at San Diego High where I was doing running backs, and I started at San Diego High doing freshman football and moved up to running backs on varsity. And then at Grossmont, I also help out with the track team, just mostly all the admin stuff, whatever they need, and help out with that.
I have long held that track meets are the most underratedly enjoyable athletic event experience because everyone is so positive and encouraging and friendly, and the competition is great. People don't understand. I think the track meets are 110% worth checking out. They're just fun.
You know what? I enjoy doing it. Every year I say this is my last year, and I've been doing it for 4 years.
Yeah, we can put that on the poll. How many coaches have said this is my last year?
The one thing I like is I get to interact with students that I normally wouldn't interact with on campus. They're not all football kids, and I actually have to. I mean, not have to, but I coach I help out with it's women and boys, girls and boys, and so you get to meet a lot of good kids. Exactly, and I enjoy it. It's very laid back. There's some things that I just don't get, but it's on the track world, and they've been doing it forever. And I think it's more because of the individual sport that, and I'm a team guy, so I'm always like, there's just some things I don't get, but it works, and it makes sense, and I'm understanding it more.
So Coach, you traced us back nice, and I liked where you were heading, kind of going all the way back to San Diego High School, because our first question that I want to ask everyone that's sitting in your seat is, this being a show geared towards coaches, speaking from the point of coaches to coaches and all that, I want to keep a lot of these questions and opportunities as educational for coaches to share opinions and perspectives. So the first one that we got is, what do you wish someone had told you about coaching when you were first starting? Or maybe what would you tell yourself right now if you could go back and tell first-year coach you about just the experience of coaching?
You know what? I think there's 2 things that pop into my head, and they're both positive. I think it's all the relationships that I've formed since my high school days. I played at St. Augustine High School, and
Augustine. Always been hard for me to say.
The St. Augustine. No. So, it goes back to, my head coaches back there, the legendary coach Bill Whitaker. Coach Stewart, who was one of our teachers, and who also coached O-line, and I played O-line there. And then our head coaches that I played for, Marty Martin, who I'm still in contact with, and Coach Medina, who is I'm still in contact with, and I get to see him once a year when he comes out. We get together, a bunch of guys from the teams that we all played together, and classmates, and the offensive coordinator that we've had at Grossmont at Mount McGill, and who's no longer coaching it at the moment, John Mazurka. We're classmates. Felix Zavala over at he's at East Lake now. Trench Dog. He's a year older than me, but we've been friends ever since then. So just those relationships that I started. Coach Tom Carlo, I've known him since John Mazurka and him played at Grossmont together, and so I just kind of hanging around with John, met Tom. I mean, I was his wingman when he first met his wife.
That's for a different podcast.
So
I'm glad you bring up Carlo. He is a quarterback himself.
Yes,
he's a quarterback guy. You're a quarterback's coach. You've produced great quarterback. Like there's a good track record to talk about there of success, and so I'm always curious with people that get so into the specifics of coaching a position. What kind of obsession do you have over the details? I mean, are you the kind of guy that is the devil really in the details? Are you breaking down every single step of a quarterback, every single fiber of his being, or are you more of a conceptual guy about just getting your quarterback in the right mind? Help us kind of break down that.
I kind of try to play into their strengths. Coach Carlo is he's taught me a lot about the position. He's allowed me to evolve as a quarterback coach, and I'll go to things with him, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do that. It works." We've learned a lot of stuff. Going to Oregon, learning under Scott Frost and Mario Verduzco. That certain, I am a detailed guy, but I'm not. I guess it's like.
So okay,
I'm kind of like in the middle.
Here's what we need to add. Just realizing now that we need to add this to the show. We're gonna have a every time a coach gives a coach speak type ism, because that's a coachism. I mean, I was hoping for a little bit deeper engagement. I know where you're trying to head with it, and this is your first media thing, and you're our guinea pig, so I'm not really roasting on you, but I get what you're saying. But at the same time, just coaches in the future, beware. I'm going to get you. If you sit in that seat and you try to give me that nonsensical round talk, no, we're going to get a buzzer on you. So keep going.
Okay,
though,
so for example, Anthony Lawrence and
Great.
Jamie Odom.
Jamie Odom's amazing hair as well. Did you coach him up on that? I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
I tried to get him to cut it, but no. So for
Lawrence,
example, they both had in our quick game. Footwork was one got it out different in a different footwork than the other.
So in a 3-step drop, they both did it a little bit different.
I mean, not 3-step, just like the catch and throw type stuff. And I was teaching it one way. Anthony was doing it. I noticed Jamie would, when we kind of changed it, he kind of was maybe off timing at the beginning. So I said, "Look, how do you feel comfortable throwing it?" And he told me, and I go, "Okay, as long as you are on time and we're getting completions, I don't care." And I got that from Anthony Lawrence when I asked him when he was at USD. I go, "Hey, how does Coach Tanner teach you guys quick step?" He says, "What's your footwork?" And he's like, "Well, as long as we're getting it off on time, that's all that matters to him." So I've kind of played into my quarterback strengths. Like, for example, another example is our backup quarterback, Justin Brown, which is he's going to be a good quarterback. I think he could have started at a lot of schools this year if he wasn't behind Jamie Odom. And his
good problem to have, man.
And his footwork's a lot different than Jamie, but it worked for him. So, it's like, I did that when I was at Mount McGill when I had Daryl Hunter as one of my running backs and Derek Dunn. So what you're saying is you would advocate in favor of the younger quarterback coaches or offensive guys out there right now, not necessarily approaching a quarterback and saying, "This is how you have to do it. You have to take these steps in this order, do this." You would advocate them maybe letting go a little bit of the absolute control and saying, "Let's play a little bit more to what this kid's able to do." I'm not gonna say yes. I'm not
Okay.
gonna say no. I'm just kind of. I think you just kind of have to find your way.
Every quarterback's different, right? So
Exactly.
what works
I
for
mean,
one doesn't always work for the
yeah.
other. The other thing is, I was gonna say what I really like what Christian does, and I bounce this off of him many times. His big thing is, tell me what you're seeing out there. Tell me how it feels out there. Tell me what's in your opinion, because you're driving the car, right? The quarterbacks are driving the car down the field. So I really like when he was telling me and educating me on, he's always asking the quarterbacks what they see, how they feel, what, trying to get a feel for what they're seeing on the field so that he can help them be better on the field. And I've learned that from you. That's one of the things that I think you do a really good job about and educated me on that. So it sounds
Yeah.
like that's what you do with the details, the devil in the details.
So, Coach, let's shift gears a little bit. You're at Grossmont, and that is a great opportunity, I think, to address the next question that I had, which is about engaging players, getting people to be excited about joining the program, new kids coming in, older kids staying and not having that attrition rate. So, through the lens of football, through the lens of track, just in terms of all your different stuff, approach that however you want. But what has been some of your tips maybe on it? How have you seen it run successfully maybe by other administrators? What do you see as the key to why Grossmont still has these huge numbers coming out across the board for athletics?
You know what? I think it starts with Tom Carlo. He makes it fun for the kids. He's not too he jokes around with them. We joke around with them. I think there's and he makes it fun for those kids to come out. And he's a big advocate for multi-sport athletes, and he will go to baseball games and basketball games to come watch all our athletes play, and he tells the kids, if you want support, you got to give support. So he encourages them to go to the games and support the school in different functions.
I think that's an interesting thing that you mentioned that, because there was a tweet from Ryan Holinsky, who was the Orange Lutheran quarterback last year up in the southern section, that went vaguely-ish viral through at least the circles that I followed. He's at South Carolina now, and he was talking about how part of rebuilding the South Carolina program had nothing to do with actually playing football. It had everything to do with wanting to be seen at other sporting events so that those teams would then return the favor and everybody would come attend and there'd be more hype around it. And so I get actually what you're saying there. And I love hearing that concept of let's support the rest of the school and they'll come support us. And
we get a good support. Our administration, our staff really supports us, our ASB advisor.
Well, and I think I asked because for me, I feel like coaches sometimes have the handcuffs on now in ways that they didn't 5 or 10 years ago, in terms of just being able, like, I remember I attended La Jolla High School. So when I was at Muirlands Middle School in 2004, I'm trying to do really quick math there. Coach Ponsford, the head football coach, came up and sort of just gave an address to all of the kids of, hey, if you want information on field hockey, those tryouts are on this day. If you want football, that's on this day. And just advocating of, hey, who wants to be a water boy? Come on down and see us on Friday night. And I feel like I talk to a lot of people who are like, no, I can't do that anymore. And I can't have that ability to just encourage 7th and 8th graders to come be around our culture and want to be excited for it. So I don't know what the solution is to how we fix some schools' participation numbers, because I think that there are programs in a desperate need of nothing other than 10 more bodies. And you see some of the success that coaches are lacking, and you're like, no, that's not a result of that coach abilities or the player's ability. It's just that this guy's legs are dead by the end of the third quarter or the start of the second half or whatever the respective sport is. And I think that I'm hoping that more and more people will help have an answer as to why we need to get more people back out there, because I'm sure you can testify having fresh legs all the time to practice against and run.
Yeah, no, we're fortunate that we're a 2-platoon program. Yeah. There's certain guys every now and then will go both ways, but it's very rare. But we'll have a couple here and there. But that's Carlo's whole mentality is to keep everyone involved, give everyone an opportunity. You know, most of our special teams is made up of backups, and he runs
that.
He runs the special teams, and we call it special ops, and he makes it a big deal, and he even named captains and from the special teams.
That's how you win some games occasionally.
And like I said, I think him always trying to get better in the off season. We're always trying to make our offense better. How can we make it better? And the kids like that. And you see it on Friday nights. You come out to a game and the sideline is full of. I mean, Anthony Lawrence is a regular person at our game if he's not in Japan playing, or he didn't have to travel to on a college game, or our other quarterback.
And people stick around.
Exactly. And you know what? And people have ex-players have came to watch us that played for us at Mount McGill. They come over and watch. My running back Daryl Hunter will come to a couple games with his son, and we get him on the sidelines. And
there you go.
And Tom encourages that. He invites that. If we get in the summer, we get a lot of the kids that are here on summer break. They'll work out with us. I mean, and Tom will tell them, hey, if you come see me, here's a shirt. He'll give them like the latest T-shirt. And so he tries to keep as many players that come around and still part of the program. And now we're seeing a lot of our ex-players coming back to help out coaching, and so I think that
kind of further breeds back into the success of the program and all that kind of
yes.
stuff. I want to close out with this question, Coach, and I think that this is one that hopefully everybody will have a different answer for. What is a misconception about coaching your sport?
You know what? It happened to me about a month ago when we started track. It was a freshman young lady, and I went to talk to her, and she was kind of like timid about talking to me, and I said I was talking to her about some admin stuff, and then I walked away, and I heard her say, "I'm scared of him." And then they're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, because he's a football coach. All football coaches are mean." And I turned around and I looked at her and I laughed. And some of the kids, kids that have been in the program already, they're like, "No, he's like the coolest coach out here."
People, yeah.
And I go, well, yeah, because I'm not responsible for a certain event, so I'm more laid back than other coaches, and that's how I am on the field as well. I think our whole coaching staff, we don't have. I think the misconception is all football coaches are yellers.
They're all that aggressive.
They cuss a lot.
Alpha male,
that stuff. Exactly. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. It slips every now and then, but it slips in life.
Right.
But we get like our D coordinator Mike Cervantes. The guy is a fiery guy, and I would encourage you to ask him to be on the show.
Deal.
I mean, this guy will come up with some energy, and anyways, he has a lot of energy, and
that's what happens. Yeah, no, we totally understand that.
One of the ones is your ex-coach, Coach Candelario. That he is like the master of just kicking you in the butt
in a loving and respectful way, but
kicking you in the butt one minute,
butt
and then the next minute he's just loving you up,
yeah.
And it's a life lesson. And I think that's the misconception.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you sitting in with us. Like I said, this is the rushed out test product, but a huge thanks to the San Diego High School Sports Association and Lori Massa for helping get this all kind of going. So, look, we know that there are literally thousands of coaches in San Diego. I don't have time to do thousands of interviews. I apologize. There's a lot of, even with a full-blown quarantine, still got a lot of stuff to produce. So what we want to do, though, is try and provide a decent cross-section of everybody, male, female, assistant and position coach, head coach. We're trying to give all races, genders, ethnicity, all sports. We want everybody to eventually have a chance in that chair to speak just about the topics of coaching. So we will leave the information for Lori's email and how you can get a hold of him and help. You can also at SDHSSA, lots of acronyms, SDPI, SDHSSA, CC from GHS, Coach L. Yeah.
You'll have it all.
Yeah, go figure that all the information will be there, but we need to give a huge thanks one last time to the San Diego High School Sports Association for helping us get this all launched and underway and helping give coaches a platform. Make sure you go give them a follow. Coach, do you have social media that you want them to follow or stay off?
No, you can follow me. My Instagram and Twitter is Coach_Curiel, and
he wants all the smoke. He wants all the smoke.
I'm not a big social media guy. I have it, but you know.
Yeah, so there you go. Direct all of it at him and make Tom Carlo's life just a little bit easier. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And yeah, hit this guy up. Talk coaching with him.
Oh, yeah, anytime.
Yes. Perfect. Nailed it. There's no way that was your first time ever, Coach.
No, I was.